He offered his bed to two exhausted Apache. Then 150 warriors arrived. Ethan Markham reached his small frontier cabin expecting nothing more than a quiet place to rest. But the moment he pushed the door open, everything inside him halted. Two Apache girls lay collapsed on his bed, their bodies limp, their breaths shallow. Their traditional fringed dresses were dusty, torn, and clinging to them as if they had run until their legs gave out. Their long braids had loosened, strands falling over their tired faces. Ethan didn't react with fear or anger. Instead, he stepped slowly into the room, lowering himself beside the bed. The older girl stirred slightly, her fragile voice murmuring something in Apache, soft, strained, and full of fear. Ethan lifted her head carefully enough to offer water. She drank with trembling lips before sinking back, exhausted. Her sister didn't wake at all, though her breathing stayed steady. Ethan recognized immediately that these weren't trespassers. They were survivors running from something. He dragged a chair toward the door to keep watch, letting them sleep on his bed while he remained awake. As the night stretched on, he studied them quietly, noting the bruises on their ankles, the soreness in their movements, the heaviness of exhaustion that clung to them. Whoever they belonged to would be looking for them desperately. Apache daughters didn't wander alone. Someone would come. That reality should have filled him with dread, yet something softened inside him as he watched them sleep. A sense of responsibility anchored him, as if fate had placed him here for a reason he couldn't ignore. Near dawn, the older girl woke again, struggling to push herself upright. Ethan remained still, not wanting to startle her. "You're safe here," he said gently. Her eyes searched his face, still unsure. She pointed at her sister, then toward the horizon, whispering, "We ran. Soldiers." The moment the word left her lips, Ethan understood everything. Soldiers in these lands pursued anything they could classify as a threat, and young Apache girls traveling alone were vulnerable targets. She lay back, too weak to speak further. When both sisters were awake enough to eat, Ethan prepared what little food he had. The girls ate slowly, their eyes flicking toward him often, trying to understand why a stranger would help them without asking anything in return. When the younger's voice finally emerged, it was fragile but clear. "Our father, Chief Aholi, he will find us." Ethan stiffened. Chief Aholi was known across the frontier, a leader of 150 warriors, fierce and unwavering. If he thought Ethan had taken his daughters, Ethan wouldn't live long enough to explain. Before Ethan could process the weight of this revelation, a distant rumble rolled across the clearing outside. Hooves. Many hooves. Ethan went to the window, and his heart slammed against his ribs. A long, powerful line of Apache warriors flooded into view. Riders stretched across the ridge in rows, their weapons ready, their painted horses, thundering toward the cabin with precision that screamed preparation for battle. The older girl pushed herself toward the window, emotions clashing in her eyes. "He is here," she whispered. The ground trembled as the warriors encircled the cabin. The girls rushed to the doorway, but stopped right before stepping out. The older girl spun toward Ethan urgently. "Come with us. If we go alone, he will think you hurt us." Ethan shook his head. "Your father will kill me the moment he sees me." She shook her head fiercely. "He will listen if we speak." The younger girl grabbed Ethan's arm, guiding him forward with surprising determination for someone so weak. The door creaked open. 150 warriors surrounded the cabin in a perfect circle. Weapons raised, horses snorting, bodies poised to strike. The formation parted, and Chief Aholi rode forward, dismounted and rushed to his daughters. Relief filled his face for a single breath, then vanished. When he looked past them and saw Ethan standing behind, his expression transformed into ice. His hand slid toward the knife at his belt. The warriors tightened their circle. Ethan raised his hand slowly, palms up. Before the chief could speak, both girls stepped in front of Ethan, blocking their father's line of attack. "He helped us," the older girl declared boldly. "He gave us his bed. He kept us safe." Her sister nodded weakly. Their voices cut through the tension like a blade. Chief Aholi stepped forward, examining Ethan with a sharp, assessing gaze. Then he entered the cabin with slow, deliberate steps, checking everything, the untouched weapons, the food offered to his daughters. The chair dragged near the door. Nothing suggested harm. Still, suspicion lingered thickly in the air when he returned outside. Warriors leaned forward, waiting for his command. A long moment of silence stretched, brittle as glass. Then Chief Aholi finally spoke. Chief Aholi's voice cut through the clearing as he demanded. Ethan explained why he had sheltered his daughters. Warriors watched with fire in their eyes, ready to strike at the chief's slightest signal. Ethan answered calmly, telling everything truthfully. How he found them unconscious, How he offered water, food, and his own bed. How he kept his distance out of respect. The chief listened sharply, eyes narrowed as if weighing every breath Ethan took. When Ethan finished, Aholi turned to his daughters. The younger girl clung to her sister but managed to speak. "He saved us." Her words carried enough strength to shift the atmosphere. Dozens of warriors exchanged uncertain glances. The chief stepped inside the cabin, verifying every detail. The chair by the door, the unused weapons, the way the girls had slept freely without restraint. After a long inspection, he stepped back outside, lifting his hand. The warriors lowered their weapons, but their eyes stayed locked on Ethan. Aholi approached him with slow, measured steps. "You helped what is most precious to me." His tone was still guarded, but clearer than before. He then ordered his warriors to rest while his daughters recovered their strength. A small fire was built near the cabin, and the chief gestured for Ethan to sit with him. Ethan obeyed. The chief spoke about the increasing pressure from soldiers pushing into Apache lands, how his people were being hunted, how his daughters had barely escaped. Ethan listened quietly, realizing how serious the situation truly was. When the older daughter walked out carrying the bowl Ethan had given her earlier, placing it near her father, Aholi's expression softened briefly. He turned back to Ethan. "You showed kindness when you had no reason." Respect flickered in his eyes. Before he could say more, a scout galloped toward the clearing and announced that a patrol of soldiers was approaching from the north. Immediately the warriors rose, mounting their horses, shifting from rest to readiness in seconds. Aholi looked at Ethan. "You should leave. This battle is not yours." But the older daughter stepped forward. "He should not run from danger brought by us." Ethan shook his head. "Your father is right. If soldiers see me with your warriors, they'll fire without warning. I'll stall them. You move your people." The chief studied Ethan for a long moment before giving a single approving nod. Ethan mounted his horse and rode out to intercept the patrol. When soldiers halted him and demanded information about Apache movement, Ethan responded with measured calm, pointing them toward a distant ridge, buying Chief Aholi valuable time. The captain, suspicious but persuaded, led his men in the wrong direction. Ethan returned to the clearing to find the Apache ready to depart. Chief Aholi approached him and placed a firm hand on Ethan's chest. "Rare gesture of honor. You risked your life twice for those not of your tribe. That creates a bond." Ethan could only nod. The daughters stood nearby, watching him with quiet gratitude, their eyes saying more than words could. The warriors mounted and began moving as one powerful force across the land. Before riding out, Aholi looked back. "If ever you are hunted or lost, come to our land. Speak my name. You will not be harmed." 150 warriors rode away, leaving the clearing silent again. Ethan stepped back into his cabin, looking at the bed where the girls had rested. He understood that kindness had changed everything, had earned him trust, spared his life, and connected him forever to a people who now carried his name with respect across the land.